Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. Wow, the NBA offseason is really heating up. Damian Lillard rumored to be requesting a trade from the Portland Trailblazers. We're going to break down some likely landing spots for him. But first, quick reminder, do subscribe right here to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. We remain blown away by all the support that we've gotten. We're almost a month into this channel, and we are completely amazed. Please help us continue to grow by subscribing, and don't forget to turn on notifications as well. Obviously, Keith Smith not with me today. He is traveling. He's out on the road. So I'm going to break this down solo. We're going to get into Lillard. But first, a little news tidbit that I think actually does matter quite a bit here for the NBA offseason, and particularly one trade that we are anticipating. So first, I guess Bradley Beal opting out of Team USA. That is a big blow for Team USA. Opts out due to COVID protocols. But the other story that I think has some real NBA implications, Kevin Love withdrawing from Team USA due to a strained calf. That could be bad news for the Cleveland Cavaliers because the Cavs are looking to move Colin Sexton. He only has 1 year left on his deal, and then they're going to have to pay him. And so they're looking to make a move, especially given the fact that they are likely to land a guard in the NBA draft in a couple of weeks, which would probably eat into Sexton's minutes. Anyway, there are a number of teams that are interested in Colin Sexton. We've heard rumors linking him to the New York Knicks, a team we're going to be talking about in just a little bit when we get to the Lillard stuff. But they have been linking Colin Sexton to the Knicks. However, will a team want to take on Kevin Love's salary too? The rumor was that the Cavs might want to put the two together and use the value that Colin Sexton has to clear Love's salary off the books. He gets $60 million over the next 2 seasons. The hope was that Love would play in the Olympics, play well enough to maybe rehabilitate his value a little bit and make a trade for him a little bit more palatable to some of the teams out there. However, another injury is certainly not going to help in that endeavor, and it might indeed make Kevin Love's contract untradeable if teams believe that he is dealing with any kind of a significant injury. So again, not good news for the Cleveland Cavaliers on the Kevin Love front. Might this cause them to now separate Kevin Love and Colin Sexton in a trade if they simply find no one willing to take on the $60 million that is owed to Kevin Love? We'll have to see how that plays out. All right, let's get into the Damian Lillard trade scenario. So this is coming from Henry Abbott from True Hoop. And one of the things I want to remind everybody is this time of year, you start to see a lot of people popping up proclaiming to be insiders. Now, Henry Abbott has been around forever, so I'm not questioning him at all, but I've already seen different Twitter accounts popping up saying, oh, Damian Lillard, according to sources, wants to go to Team A, Team B, Team C, or Team B, proclaiming that they know the teams that are on Lillard's list. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. Okay, let's make that clear. I'm not saying they're wrong, but just be careful. Take things with a grain of salt. This time of year, sometimes you see sort of fake insiders popping up and saying things that have the ring of truth to them, and then using that to try to gain clout as a real insider. So making an obvious statement like, hey, sources tell me the Lakers are interested in trading for Damian Lillard. Well, of course they are. Every team, 29 teams in the NBA are interested in trading for Damian Lillard, but they'll get a lot of followers really quick because people think that they actually have the inside scoop. So again, just take things with a grain of salt right now. Again, I love this time of year. This is a great time for the NBA. Tons of different things happening, particularly since we've got the NBA Finals going on as well. But again, unless it's one of the main guys, Chris Haynes, Adrian Wojnarowski, Shams Charania, Mark Stein, right, all those guys, just kind of take everything with a grain of salt as you're seeing people start to pop up and say that they know where Damian Lillard wants to go. All right, so one of the things that I am going to assume going into this is that if Damian Lillard's going to be traded, the Blazers are going to do him a solid and trade him to a team that when he gets there can contend. They're not going to trade him to some team that he wouldn't want to play for. So like, I'm going to remove the Orlando Magic from the equation. The Magic are not at a point right now in their rebuild where they can contend, even if Lillard did wind up there. So I am assuming, and that's not for sure. Look, the situation with Lillard is a little bit different than when we see most superstar trades because he has 4 years under contract. Now, because of that, I think the Blazers are going to get a massive haul in return. Look at what Anthony Davis got in the Lakers trade with the Pelicans, multiple future firsts, plus a bunch of young talent. They got a lot for AD, and that was with just 1 year left under contract. Lillard has 4 years left. I imagine he is going to get a ton. 4 years suggests that the Blazers could trade him wherever they want because Lillard can't threaten to walk away in a year like a player like, say, Anthony Davis could have. So that is absolutely a factor in this. But I think the Blazers will do him a solid and will at least trade him somewhere where he can contend now that Lillard is in his 30s. I think contending for a championship is going to be really important for him. And because he's meant so much to the Blazers, I'm operating under the belief that they will send him somewhere that can contend. So again, that does eliminate some teams from the list. So here's who I've got, and in no particular order. Let's start with the New York Knicks. I think they would be a very intriguing landing spot for Damian Lillard. Can put together a number of pieces in a trade package. They've got plenty of first-round picks to offer up. They have 2 firsts in this year's draft. Plus, you've got guys like Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley. You've got a lot of different pieces that you can cobble together, and you've got the added benefit of a ton of cap space. They've got so much cap room that you don't have to worry about matching salaries for Damian Lillard. Might that be something that could appeal to the Blazers if they can save some money on the deal by not taking back nearly as much as what they send out in Damian Lillard? So maybe that's something to consider right there. I think the Knicks would make a lot of sense and believe they will make a strong push for Damian Lillard, but they are certainly not the only team out there that can put together some intriguing packages. By the way, I'm not saying the Knicks would give up all of those guys, but they've got some pieces that they could put together that would certainly interest the Blazers. The Denver Nuggets, I think, are very interesting as well. Like, what if the Nuggets decide to throw caution to the wind and say, we want to find a superstar to put alongside our MVP, Nikola Jokic, and they say, hey, Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, is that enough to get it done? That has to get the attention of the Portland Trailblazers. That is a really enticing package. Now, obviously, Murray coming off a very serious injury, so they have to be convinced that he's going to get back to 100%. But still, that is a lot of talent to send out, and I'm not saying for sure the Nuggets would do that, but for a player of Lillard's caliber, you have to be willing to give in order to get a guy like that. The Boston Celtics, I think they could get into the mix with a similar package to what the Denver Nuggets are offering if they're willing to come off of Jaylen Brown. And I'm not saying that they will. I think they would probably do everything they could to try not to. But Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart together, would that entice the Blazers? I think it's certainly intriguing to think about. And there's a decent amount of value there in a very young player in Jaylen Brown who could be on the verge of becoming a true superstar. Then you look at the Golden State Warriors, and I know most of us, when we hear the Warriors, we say, oh my gosh, Steph and Damian Lillard together would not work. They'd be shooting threes from half court. Oh yeah, I mean, that would probably be the case, but I think the Warriors have the assets to at least get into the mix here. Now you've got James Wiseman, who was the number 2 pick last season, plus the 7 and 14 pick in this year's NBA draft. So really you're talking about 3 lottery picks there, with Wiseman and then the 7 and 14. Now, obviously, 7 and 14 is not going to carry as much value as a higher up pick, particularly in this draft where there's a definite tier break there. So I don't know that that's enough to get it done. Of course, Andrew Wiggins would also have to be included for salary matching purposes. But does Wiggins, Wiseman, 7 and 14, particularly if Dame says, hey, I want to go home. He's from Oakland. If he says, I want to go back to my hometown, and he really pushes for the Warriors, is that enough to maybe get the deal done with the Blazers? Would be intriguing. It would be certainly weird seeing both Damian Lillard and Steph Curry playing side by side, but stranger things have happened. Looking at Los Angeles, both the Lakers and the Clippers have given up so many of their future firsts in order to land their stars, in order to get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the Clippers side, in order to get Anthony Davis on the Lakers side. They've got so many future picks already going out that I have a hard time thinking that either one of them can really be an option. I think both will try, but again, 29 teams in the NBA will try. I just don't think they can get there value-wise in order to send the Blazers enough to part with Damian Lillard. The 76ers might be able to package something together around Ben Simmons. Now, I know his value has certainly taken a hit recently, but still, at just 25 years old, he is a young and very talented player that maybe the Blazers would have interested in, particularly if you're able to put together something with him and say Matisse Thybulle, something like that, maybe Seth Curry. There are some different things that the 76ers can do to get into the mix. And in particular, Damian Lillard and Joel Embiid together would be a really devastating combo, and I think that makes a lot of sense as well from the 76ers perspective. You'd be killing 2 birds with 1 stone, in that you would be swapping out Simmons for a guy that not only fits better with Joel Embiid than Simmons ever could, but you're also getting a talent upgrade. You're getting a superstar level player, and from the Blazers side, they'd be getting a young talent that might be kind of difficult to equal. In other trade packages, another team to keep an eye on, though, is the Miami Heat, always in the mix for superstar level talent. You know, Pat Riley will do whatever it takes to try to make something work, although I don't know that they've got the contracts to really get it done unless they want to part with a guy like Bam Adebayo, which they almost certainly don't. But they do have Tyler Hero. Maybe you can find some first-round picks, things like that. I'm only really including them because they've been creative in the past and they have been a destination for star-level players. So maybe they can figure out a way to get it done, but there doesn't seem to be a clear path there. The New Orleans Pelicans. Now, look, I know we can argue that maybe they're not ready to contend even with Damian Lillard. A Zion Williamson and Lillard combo could be really, really incredible, but they do have plenty of assets to get a deal done. We're talking Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, maybe in a sign and trade, and they've got a ton of picks. They've got not only their own picks, but you've also got 2 picks coming from the Lakers, 2 picks from the Bucks, a bunch of pick swaps in there as well. They've certainly got the assets to get into the mix, but again, I don't know if they're a team that Lillard would actually want to go to, but they do have the assets to be a threat in any Damian Lillard trade. But let me know what you guys think. Where do you think Damian Lillard is going to wind up if he does indeed request a trade from the Portland Trailblazers? Fire it off in the comments down below, and don't forget, subscribe right here to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel and ring that notification bell. Until next time, stay safe and see you.